Oh well, let me go ahead and do it. So, y'all, I want to come and talk to y'all about something. And you know what? Um, I think people need to take heed to what I'm saying. Okay. I wanted to come and say this about people that are doing things and, plotting and scheming and doing all of this stuff, plotting and scheming and praying and then doing witchcraft, but then going and asking for forgiveness so that you can falsely bring about energies of punishment to people for whatever it is that you don't agree with them. And today I want to talk about gay people and witches, okay? I have noticed that people love to try to bring about false judgment and revelation, right? To me, it's not really real. To me, it's not really real. I don't want to get into why exactly I don't think that it's real and that the presence of the God that they think is there judging people solely based upon them either being gay or witches, I don't believe that it's real. I don't believe that that is God's presence. That is a congregation of people in one consciousness utilizing their energy against that person. And it's really sad. It's really sad. We've seen this before. I think later on, I really honestly, guys, let me tell you something. I really want to talk about probably in a few days. I want to talk about, I think he was like a 17-year-old boy that was attending a church. Hold on. I think I want to delve into that because I want to talk about this fear and this satanic panic and this judgment. And you know what? To me, it's very self destructive because even in the Bible, it even says that you're not supposed to judge. But yet we see people doing this in a major way every single day. Every single day. And I feel like it is the most self destructive thing that people can do. Let me pull up this. Let me see. Pastor Tiffany was her name. And I think I want to delve into that story. Word of Life Church, um, who beat to death. There was a counseling session where this happened in Chadwick's, New York. Tiffany Irwin pleaded guilty. I think she's out of jail now. But she pleaded guilty to manslaughter and assault for leading a violent, hours long counseling session in October of 2015 that resulted in the death of 19-year-old Lucas Leonard and severe injuries to his 17-year-old brother, Christopher. So, a little boy, 19, that's a little boy to me, 19 years old is a little boy, um, and other church members, including the victim's parents and siblings, interrogated and beat the teenagers with an electrical extension cord because Lucas expressed a desire to leave the church. Now, this doesn't really get into detail, but I did read a few other things about um, this whole thing about what happened to Lucas Leonard. I did read that he was also being accused of practicing witchcraft. Okay, so I did either hear or read that somewhere. And they beat him to death. They beat him to death, right? So I'm not sure who exactly went to jail for the murder of this little boy for practicing witchcraft um, and desiring to leave the church. But it just goes to show, because I sit back and I watch them, y'all. I do. That I sit back and I watch them. They have an entire plot and scheme of this so called God's vengeance and punishment against anybody that they think is not doing what God wants them to do. This is happening right now. I want to remind you guys of the several verses in the Bible that advises against this. It does. And they know that they're wrong. And you know what? Many of us, especially myself as a witch, I thank God every single day that I'm even still alive, that, that there's something more horrible has not happened. You know what I mean? Because, this is something that is happening. Even in the church, a counseling session led to a 19-year-old kid being beaten to death. What is wrong with them when they do this? And you know what? Why do they even have to be held accountable? Because every bad thing that they do, instead of blaming it on normal human error, you made an error or taking accountability for it, they get to blame it on the devil. Now, I'm not accusing every Christian of doing this, but I am saying that that is what they do. And, for me, I identify as a witch just like a gay person identifies as being gay. And so I understand just the I don't want to say the pain, because for me it's not painful, right? But I understand how it feels when somebody that you're supposed to, that's supposed to be family, or somebody that, when they tell you that they don't accept you because you're a witch. Now, I do believe that being a witch, I think that sometimes, or in some cases, but not in all, I wanted to talk about this because it's like, do you not see, like, what's wrong with you? And to be honest with you, I'm going to tell y'all straight up and down, they are literally under witchcraft when they're doing that and they don't even know it. So if your God wants you to beat the hell out of somebody and just keep beating them and beating them and beating them and beating them and torturing them and talking about them and hating them until they're dead, until they're dead. And it even says in your Bible, the Lord has told you that you are not supposed to judge people, but yet they will sit back and watch somebody beat, rape, violate another person, and it should be obvious. So wait a minute, you're telling me that you want me dead and that I am devalued and I should be subjugated. I should be hurt. I should be casted out as if I was Satan. I should be dead, and everybody should hate me, and I don't deserve shit. I deserve to suffer because I'm a witch, but yet you have nothing to say when a child is being beaten to death or raped. That, like, what is possessing them to do that? And you know what? I truly believe that it's probably dark magic. And then to say to them, well, you know what? Hey, I am a protective witch. I'm a good witch. Oh, there's no good witches. What? Bad things happen to good people every day. Bad things happen to Christians every single day. I don't get it. I don't get it or understand it. It's something that will probably not ever have any level of human understanding as to why they do that. Why do they do that? Why? Why? Why do you judge and you're not supposed to? And you are doing it every single day. They are actively trying to create hell. And they always got a cherry pick. Funny how when it comes, especially when it comes to witches, the women of the churches is it's always got to be somebody that they find more attractive than them. Okay, that's funny how that happens too. But or either somebody that they're jealous of. You know what I'm saying? It's a perversion of religion. You're practicing a perversion of your own religion. You are not supposed to judge people. Now, for me, when I've talked about gay people, I've only talked about gay people or lesbians that are trying to force me into lesbianism. I have no problem with gay people. I think they need to leave gay people the fuck alone. But when you're a gay person and you're trying to force somebody else to be gay, I mean, come on, that's obvious. But other than that, as long as you're not impeding on me, and it just is like, where's the common sense? And I think that that is what witch means. It means living without. I'm sorry. It means living with common sense. What the hell are you talking about? Literally every day they're trying to bring hell and judgment, and you can't create a false hell on earth. You can't do it. You can't do it. You're trying to create a false hell on earth where that person that you don't agree with can be judged. You're trying to be God. You can't be God. You can't be God. Hold on, y'all. You cannot be God. You cannot play God like that. That is very dangerous. And you know what? Guess who told me that they're doing that? God. God said, child, they are trying to create a false hell for you and punishment. Is it? It's weird. It's very, very weird. And it doesn't even feel right. It feels artificial. They're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to do that. It even says it in your Bible. It even says it. It does. Even the pastor, even the pastor, but yet historically, it seems like that has always been done. And I'm not trying to bring about, no kind of, hate for anybody. That's not what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm doing. Yeah, but it's women like that too, Noriel. Women are doing that too. Women are doing that too. They feel as though they can bring about false judgment against people. That's exactly what that's false. That's not actually God. And then even when you have a congregation, what you're using is energy. So in retrospect, if you're using energy like that, you're practicing witchcraft too. You're doing a form of witchcraft. Pretty much. Right. Right. So and it's just really weird. It really is. You know what I'm saying? Like Especially if they got something personal against you, or if it's some money involved. All of that gets thrown out of the window. So if somebody if they get offered money, they're willing to go ahead and go against the Lord. It's like, well, you did that for money? It's weird. They not supposed to be doing that. They not supposed to be doing that. And it ain't it happening a lot, Noriel. It's happened a lot. It's happening a lot every single day. They got a whole plot and scheme. They got and they're just creating this situation, and it's like, you gotta stop. And I'm not talking about people on the internet. I'm talking about just people on the internet. I'm talking about people in everyday life. In everyday life, and they're in a psychosis with it. If it's something that you're doing that they cannot stand or they don't agree with all day, every day, their interaction with even their own family members is all about them wanting to play God and tell you what you should believe in and tell you what you should do. When you should be getting that from God. That everybody's relationship with God is a personal relationship. And you shouldn't be doing that. And if I'm not mistaken, they did the same thing to Jesus, if I'm not mistaken. Now, here we are in another lifetime. How do you think Jesus might feel about that? I don't believe that Jesus likes that. I really don't. Because it becomes an obsession. It becomes an obsession for them. I mean, they are just obsessed with it. And they have to do it. It's happening to me right now. You know what I mean? It happens to anybody on here that believes in crystals and meditation. So they're trying to, they will literally try to attack you to death, like literally to death. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, I ain't been killed or nothing. Luckily, ain't nothing happened. Well, it's not luck, it's skill, in my opinion. But luckily, ain't nothing happened. Because they want me to confess my life to the Lord, and I need to just say, and really, to be honest with you, is, when you explain to somebody, hey, I do this for my health. We all know the powers of crystals. Why does that bother you? Why does it bother you? What, do you want me to die? Like you want people to be sick? You know what I'm saying? And that's why so many families have bloodline curses. Because of those spirits running through the family. Oh yeah, we got high blood pressure that runs in our family. Oh, I bet it does. I bet it does, because everybody has hate and contempt for each other, and nobody knows how to actually be a family. Nobody, hey, Talia's jagged teeth. Nobody knows how to do that. What if you have somebody in your family that's allergic to blood pressure medicine and they can't take it? So now they have to use crystals and meditation. Then what? Oh, well, then die, because crystals are evil and that's considered to be witchcraft. What? How is it bothering you? See what I'm saying? It makes no sense, guys. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. I wish that they would stop. I think God is telling them to stop. Stop. And you know what? Even for me, I'm a witch and I have the ultimate faith in God. I know that God is going to deliver me from that evil. That's evil. That's evil. When you tell them that, and then they get upset. It's like, well, why are you getting upset? Why can't you just change it? They don't want you to practice witchcraft because they may fear what you could do to them. But you have faith in God, right? I'm not being mean when I say that. You have faith in God, right? So whatever you have faith in has the power. Okay, so then even if a witch was bad or did something bad to you, God wouldn't let nothing happen, right? So you believe in God, but you believe that witchcraft can still harm you? Make that make sense. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, Riel. And they'll be in a psychosis. I've honestly seen families of people. I've actually had clients that are witches, right? And I've had clients that everybody in their family was under a psychosis, and the psychosis was just what I'm talking about. And it was kind of reminiscent of, but anyway, client was going through it, you know what I'm saying? And the whole family was under a psychosis of witchcraft, of bad witches. And everybody was praying with the Bible and Psalms and everything, but it was still happening. Why was it still happening? And the girl and my client wasn't even practicing, but they were still blaming her. Thank God I got the client out of there. They didn't beat her to death or kill her. That was crazy. Like, I'm like, what in the world? And I could see it, and it was constantly happening. And the client gave me proof. She showed me proof of everything. She kept me well documented how she identified as a witch. She definitely had spiritual gifts, definitely. And everybody was just going against her, but it was because her adversary was very good. Like, I literally battled that particular. It was actually, I'm not going to get into detail, but it was actually a couple of witches that I had to battle for the client because they literally had some that they had a way of working on the family, and it exacerbated the family's fear and loathing of witchcraft, right? So they were Christian, but they had no faith, and it was because, and it was really crazy. It was really crazy. I had to get the client out of there. I said, you got to get out of there because they were. I mean, it was literally. It got violent. It got violent, and it's like, what in the world? And they were all under witchcraft. They were, and she even tried the sage, and they went nuts. They went nuts just seeing the sage that could have actually helped them. And you know what? To this day, she doesn't talk to her family, but everybody in the family is having problems. And instead of seeing the truth, seeing that they're under attack and doing something about it, they blame it on her. They blame her. And from what she was told, they didn't believe in saging. Well, I've seen even people in the church sage. I've seen church people sage. I didn't understand that. It was really weird. Like, they were literally all under these witches' control. And they were, and because witchcraft can be that powerful. Absolutely. And everybody was just having so many issues. Like, it was really weird, and it was all based upon their charts because I spent hours with this client. The family members that had more weaknesses in their birth chart, they were the ones that were being taken down quicker. The ones that just so happen to have certain, because at the end of the day, let's say that let's look at your first house. Now, I got Leo in my first house, right, which is extremely powerful with Aries, paired with Aries, with Mars. If you have a zodiac sign, and I hate to say this, but it would have to be air, not Libra, but if you have that in your chart, that might make you a little more weaker, right? A little bit more. It depends on what your ancestors have done. But if you have something like Taurus or even Aries, if you're a double Aries, if you have Aries in your first house, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and that's going to give you, or Sagittarius. If you have Taurus, Sagittarius, or Leo in your first house, that's going to make you extremely powerful, especially Sagittarius or Leo. So some of her family members that had like powerful charts, they were getting lucky. But other than that, it was a lot of people. They was in and out of the hospital. A couple of them died of COVID. It was like, and literally, they were rejecting her, praying against her. They were praying against my client, and not the damn witches that was, I mean, basically just flambeing these people daily. They were praying against my client. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you need to know thy enemy. I believe it says that in the Bible too. They were directing all of their energy towards my client instead, and not the true enemy. And then instead blaming it on witchcraft. Okay, it was witchcraft, but it wasn't the client. That's it. And that was an interesting situation. That was a very interesting situation that I was dealing with. Let me see what you're saying, Noriel. Unfortunately, that's a big debate. The fight between good and bad is real. You can believe in God and still be scared of witchcraft. Nothing new there, yeah. All horror movies with pastors are proof that witchcraft isn't excluded from religion like they need to shut the fuck up, yeah. Call a pastor is a very known phrase. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I got, and I just don't see, I don't get how people can do that, and then at the end of the day, also another thing, if you believe in the Bible and you're spending all of your energy witch hunting and constantly going against witches, and God has already told you, your God has already told you, hey, you're not supposed to judge. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, Stevan, what are you doing? So you're basically, bless you, you're basically essentially still punishing yourself. That's just that's insane. But you can't tell them nothing because I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Witches, boy, when they get that damn skull candle, one of them damn skull candles, oh my God. Some of them be making them candles themselves. They put that on there. I mean, some of these witches out here, they got one phrase. Hell, I still write Bibles damn near. I write theses with my petitions. I'll be very detailed. Some of these witches, but you know what? You can create like a one line or, incantation for that entire working, right? These witches will put on there, something in Latin, and have everybody in the family be arguing and fighting. Somebody, they be ready to kill each other. I have seen it and witnessed it. And it's crazy because I think that a lot of the healers and the witches and high priestesses, they're actually there to help the family. And they'll kill them. They'll damn near kill you. Damn near. And next thing you know, they be in jail and they still be delusional. Now you in prison for killing some damn body. And you still under that witchcraft. Why are you in prison? Thank you, honey. Why are you? That's just crazy to me, guys. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. Let God do his job. If that's what God wants to do, why are you? Because that's not God. That's artificial. That's you. That's you. You see what I'm saying? That's them. Well, being a witch is kind of huge, but I think they do it out of fear, and I also think that I think that in some cases, like what I was talking about with my client, had everybody in the house possessed. Everybody in the family was possessed. I had to do some next level cleansing and necromancy, and they was still tripping. Like, they got violent with her, breaking glass and Just, oh my God, it was horrible. It was horrible. And they made her lose like 3 jobs. She had to finally get a job, and she just so happened to talk somebody into renting her like like an apartment. You know what I'm saying? She just so happened to find somebody. I helped her get a place. I did, and she was able to rent that just to get away from them. And she had to switch jobs and everything because they was. I mean, they was. I mean, they. It was horrific. It was horrific. And they had outsiders. They had the whole church congregation. The whole congregation was stalking my client, and her baby daddy, who was her ex, had something to do with it also. So they and they was just as perverted as all get out, just being, it was weird. She kept recording it and showing to me all of the incidences of this happening. And that doesn't come from witchcraft. I will admit that some witches, when they open up that doorway, I do think that you need to be experienced. But let's not forget that there are certain energies that do come into play that will protect, instead of just as soon as you light a candle, oh my God, hell and fire and brimstone is going to come in. Uh, so it's them, it's them. You know what I'm saying? It is. I know witches right now that, and they do good things with their craft. They do a lot of healing, and they do a lot of love and light, right? They don't do no curses, nothing. They just do healing, and they are getting housing assistance, and it's very peaceful. It's very peaceful for them, very. And they just do their craft, and they're not public, and they just, and they don't have no issues. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't really have to worry about, you know what I'm saying? They don't really have to worry about like earning a certain amount of income. You know what I'm saying? Like they, part of their rent is paid. So, and I've been there, done that, trust me. I've been on it. I've been on housing assistance, and it was very, very peaceful. It was because, I pay my portion of the rent, which was not 50. They always say, "Oh, your rent was $50." No, it goes by your income. So my rent would get paid, and it wasn't that big of a deal. But now I'm at the point where, and so it's by the way, they don't want witches, aka women, owning property. They don't want us to buy houses. And I'm like, well, good luck with fighting my mama on that, because that's all her spirit want me to do is buy a house. My mom is she boy, she was sitting talk to me for hours about that. And but when you young, you can't, you don't listen to your mama. My mom would she be like, buy a house now, Shawnee, buy a house now. And she's still saying that in the afterlife. so so trust and believe that by this time next year I'll be, I ain't gonna really discuss it, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not single, I'm not single. Definitely not. Yeah, right, right. And then that's another thing. People like, okay, I don't know if y'all ever watched Morgue Official, but he did a live stream, and I want to see kind of what he's talking about because I think that all of this chaos and confusion and them doing that, I think that that's probably by default what happened with a lot of people in their love life. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, not finding Mr. Right, and I think that that hurts a lot of people. So you have to undo something that's been done. You have to undo it. Something that's been done to block that or to block you from meeting that person or whatever. But guys, I gotta go because I gotta follow up with somebody. But it's been nice. Thank you so much for the love, you guys. I will see y'all later. Yeah, stop judging people because of that. And you how do you know that God hasn't evolved since that? How do you know that even Yahweh hasn't evolved since then? You never know. So that's why you're not supposed to judge. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So they take it for granted. They think, Stevan, they think, well, even if this is a mistake, God is going to forgive me anyway. But I mean, that's just like that pastor that had a hand in killing that little 19-year-old boy. And I need to light a vigil candle for him because his name keeps coming up. And then his last name is Leonard. Coincidentally, the same name as the demon of witchcraft. But, you killed somebody. That's horrible. You actually took somebody's life, and they'll say, well, God will forgive me. But you took oh my God, you took somebody's life. I would never be able to live with myself if I made that mistake, which is why I would never make that mistake. Okay, I would never, like, that's crazy to me. That's a perversion of their religion, of the religion of the Bible. That's, to me, it is. Okay. All right, y'all. I gotta go. Y'all have a good evening. All right. Happy Tuesday to y'all. Okay. Blessings. Bye.